Hello! Ooh, almost forgot that YouTube notified me. Yippee for YouTube! How is everyone today? Happy Friday! I hope you're all doing very well. Hi Daro! How are you today? I'm pretty good. It's been really sunny, so of course that means that everything is okay. We're all healed. We love to see it. We love to see it. I think. What have I been up to this week? I don't know. Not much. I'm never up to much. Although I have done some funky work. Our show is on. Yippee! The eagle. The eagle emoji. What's she doing here? Visiting my parents for the weekend. Oh, that's lovely. Hope you're having a wonderful time, Daro. So, let's have a little look-see, shall we? Let's get right into it. Of course, I don't like to wait around too much. Here we are, continuing on with our every single D&D character I've ever played, even if it was just for one session. But yeah, we're almost done. It's actually crazy. This is still so loud in my ears. So sorry, everyone. Crank it up for you guys, but just turn it way down for me. Yes, so last week we finished off Clarabelle and we started my saddest, sexiest boy, Zephyr. And look at this. Look how, wow. We're almost finished. Now, I don't have super high hopes for finishing Zephyr today because we have a lot of detail to get done. But I don't want to go too crazy on the details because they're going to be really, really itty bitty 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 tiny. If I grab his little thingy. Like this is the amount of detail that we're trying to pack into this itty bitty boy. So we'll see how detailed we can actually feasibly get. But I've already got some of the trimmings on. Hi Arcana, it's good to see you. How are you doing today? There has finally been another Pathfinder session and one more D&D session. We'll finish that campaign in about 2 to 3 sessions. Ah! Oh, it's always so bittersweet to finish a campaign. How long has that campaign been going on for, Dara? I'm still so amazed by how often you play. I'm so jealous. Gotta love sad boys, absolutely. And this is the saddest boy I have ever played. Need to get him. Let's get him somewhere that I can. Get him somewhere that I can see him. Because yeah, we're really really gonna be grinding on these details. I can't see him too far in. So gonna find a balance, I think. Ugh, this always happens to me. There you go. Been on the creative grind, planned out an animatic for my Delahan character. Ooh, oh my gosh! Arcana! That's so cool! I love animatics. I love them. And I love Delahans. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. You'll have to share it with us somehow when it's done. Ugh. I really go on such... I do such grinds on the animatics. I go so hard on them. I do like... I pop out 5 and then I run out of things to animate. Hi Eleonora! Hi! How are you today? I hope you've had a good week. Have you been up to anything much? This is already this is already getting detailed as hell, and I love it. I love this armor so much. It's really my magnum opus. I don't know how I'm going to outdo this armor one day. I'm gonna have to, of course. But I'm so proud of it. It's not been that long. I think probably over half a year, 8 months max. Oh, little baby campaign, little short one. That's so cute. I love it. I've only ever finished one campaign, and that was Zaf's campaign, and that one was only, well, I say only, it was a year and a half, which I think is a pretty standard timescale for campaigns, I think. I don't know. How long do how long does everyone's campaigns usually last for them? What's the longest campaign you've ever been a part of? Because we've never managed to finish ours. except for this one. Yippee! Yes, I definitely will once I finish it. Yay! Oh, I'm excited to see it. Oh, I can just imagine Delahan with all the smoke and stuff. If they do have smoke. I like the smoky Delahans. Level 3 to level 7 where we will end up, which gives me a perfect opportunity for a perfect setup to reuse Shiva for future campaigns on the Sword Coast. Oh hell yeah. Just because the campaign's over doesn't mean the character gets to retire. That's so fun. I always get so, I don't know, I always want certain characters to come back, but then if they come back, then I can't make new ones, you know? It's a double-edged sword. What is it all? Gonna have to look for ideas for full plate armor for Merca. Gonna have to think of some personal details and adornments. Yes! Ugh. I love armor so much. What I really love is real historical armor gets kind of crazy sometimes. I think I've shared this before, but there's a piece of armor that I saw in a museum near me that has turnips etched into it, and they don't really know why there are turnips etched into the armor, but there's also there's loads of other bits and bobs etched into the armor, all sorts of insignias and you know, like fantastical beasts and dogs and plants and heraldry. So it's just armor's just really fun in the way that people just etched into it stuff that they liked, as well as stuff that, you know, was for, this is what order I'm a part of, or this is who I serve. And well, most armor belonged to very, very rich people, because armor's very expensive. So yeah, that's your tip for the day. Turnip armor. If you, ours usually span 2 to 3 years, but probably only 40 sessions, mostly because of scheduling. Ugh, scheduling. Campaign's worst enemy. That's so crazy. That's pretty short as well. Maybe I'm used to long campaigns. Because we're currently, we just finished session 37 in our campaign, but we have been playing religiously every week, and Zafir's campaign, which lasted a year and a half, was 61 sessions in total. And my god, they sped through that shit. I discovered today that the current campaign, Splitfang, have known each other for 2 months in-game. And, you know, they act like it, I think. Whereas this campaign, the last campaign, the whole campaign took place over the course of 4 months, and so much shit happened. Oh my god. And we skipped one of the months, basically. We just did a month of downtime while we were waiting for something else to happen. We were going to go to the secret pirate island called Octopus Island, and we basically skipped a month and did a bunch of downtime and admin stuff. So we only played 3 months actually in game. And my god, what a busy 3 months they were. The Zafir died twice. He had his arm and his leg cut off. He came back to life, like, fully. He discovered there was a phylactery inside him. He met a guy, fell in love. They became boyfriends. His boyfriend died. Then he came back to life. Then he crashed out, broke up with his boyfriend. His boyfriend got kidnapped, and then he rescued his boyfriend, and then, well, ex, and then after the campaign ended, like in the epilogue, they got engaged. These bitches, they've only known each other for 4 months. This shit's so crazy. These guys really rushed into it. But it's not as bad, actually, as the other couple that got engaged at the end of the campaign, because they only knew each other for like 2/3 of the campaign, because the player originally had a different character, but she betrayed the party. She just straight up murdered a guy and then betrayed the party and left. And so this was a backup character that came in. So they've only known each other like half the time. So, and after the campaign ended, in the epilogue, they not only got engaged, but they eloped. So they got full married at the end of the campaign. They've known each other for about 3 months. They don't know shit about each other. I just thought that's so funny. Meanwhile, Splitfang is 2 months in, and they are hardly friends. They are hardly friends at all. A bunch of them have kissed, though. We've had like a good few kisses. Obviously, Senna had a fade to black. So, you know, we're getting there. It's just the timescales are always so funny. Hi, Jack! Oh my gosh, so many messages. I'm so sorry. My guys are Fire and Fog Delahan. Oh my gosh, that's so cool! Shiva will end up as a 4 Soul Knife Rogue, 3 Celestial Warlock. It's very easy to set up a deal with a patron to start anew for a price of rogue levels and equipment. Hell yeah. I have so many campaigns going on in my group, it's gonna be a while to finish any of them. Eee! I can't imagine doing more than one at a time. I kind of wish we did, though, because it would give me something else to think about other than Sanimarin or like the current campaign that's happening, because I just think about them all the time. Merca's campaign has been running about half a year with just 11 sessions so far. Barely made it past the prologue. Oh, scheduling. Yeah, there's some months we only get 1 session, and then sometimes we have to skip a whole month before the next. Ugh, scheduling. Tomorrow night might be another online session with Yoke later in the evening, and the youngest sister is away. Might borrow her dice for the session. LOL. Beginning of 2026 was really rough. People got sick very often, and we had very few sessions because of that. Yeah, for real. Hi, Jack! One of my other D&D PCs had her first kiss with another PC. Ever said, PC's mother's corpse who you just killed. Oh my god, what the fuck? Arcana, what the hell? Oh, that's so funny. That's actually really funny. I love that. Damn. but I have a session tonight. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Yippee! How are we all doing? I'm doing well. How are you, Jack? And how is everyone else doing? Yeah, I find that scheduling is really just the most, like, scheduling is so scary when it comes to D&D. It's always the big killer of games, especially when we used to play in person. But nowadays we've been playing on the same day for so long that now it's just whenever people get new jobs in our group, they're just like, we can't play on a Sunday. And I think that's rather iconic of them. You know, it's a commitment. Everyone's committed to the cause. Eleonora is winning out of all of us, I fear. The other PC was the one who initiated the chaos. Oh my god. Was the mother like a bad person? That's the only thing I can, like, was this mother like real bad? I mean, must have been, right? Must have been like a BBEG. God, that's crazy. I'm good, it's Friday, so winning. Yes! Big up the Friday. Ugh. Ugh, huge Friday. Get more of this trim in. It's actually, this is actually quite soothing. I'm finding it. Doing all of Zaf's trimmings. He's gonna look so much more detailed than everyone else. He might stick out like a sore thumb. I might actually have to tone it down, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's just so yum. I'm scared about doing this panel. It's got a whole ram skull in it. Like, God, Zaf, save some drip for the rest of us. Oh my gosh. And D&D on Sunday, yes! Oh my gosh, I can't wait to kill that old bitch. But actually, I can't kill her. I can't kill that old bitch, which I will talk about. I'll talk about soon. What happened on LaFleur's night? It's still LaFleur's night, but we're missing the opera. It's really sad, actually. We have to work. It's rubbish. But at least everyone looked really good. The DM decided to torture me out of character by sending a message to the campaign group that I'd get Maka in a relationship with a kitsune bard if they think of a good shit name for them. Her name is Kairi Aruki, so the best suggestions were Murr and Thoracic Park. Oh, I like both of them. They're really good. I like Murr because that's like it's like pairing, which I guess it's probably the idea. And then Thoracic Park, obviously. Does anyone else have any good suggestions for Dara? They're kitty cats. Maka is a tabaxi. And let me see if we got a kitsune. It's really good. Ooh, trim. Also, did anyone do the homework that I set? Does anyone remember the homework that I set? To go out into the world and see if there were any flowers that aligned with your characters in flower language. Because I did. I actually made a bouquet for Zaf as well, if you guys would like to see. See the saddest boys, sad bouquet. Let me get it up. Flower language. I love it. It's so cool. Okay, ignore how shit it is. Ignore how shit it looks. Let me grab... Oh, not you. Hello. Go away. Let me grab... You just show it off. Yeah! Very purple. Okay, so flower language. Part of Zaf's bouquet, of course, I had to have a red spider lily because they are symbols of death, of final goodbyes, and the afterlife, and that is his whole thing. I mean, he started the campaign dead, and he worships the goddess of the afterlife. Like, hey. Then we have a dark crimson rose for mourning and finality. A lotus blossom, which means estrangement, forgetfulness of the past, and rebirth, which I don't think there's a flower that means more to Zaf, really. Forgetfulness of the past. Bitch has no memories. And rebirth? He's literally a reborn. Or he was. Marigold is grief and cruelty, and I took that to mean more of his own grief and cruelty, because he could be quite cruel when he wanted to be. Asphodel, regret that follows you to the grave and death, of course. Purple hyacinth, deep sorrow, regret, a plea for forgiveness. You know, he's a very sad boy, and he's all about death and stuff. But you might notice that the center of his bouquet is an iris, which represents faith, trust, hope, and valor, which are all things that Zaf embodies. He's a very noble guy. He's full of faith and trust, and he's full of hope for the future. And that's why it's like the center, because even though it's surrounded by all of this sad stuff, he's still got this core. And heliotrope is for eternal love and devotion, because he is very loving and devoted, especially to his partner, but also to his friends. And the whole thing is wrapped up in thyme for courage and strength, and ivy for affection, friendship, and fidelity, because he's just a little sweetie pie and he loves his friends so much and they keep him together. Yeah, that's my bouquet. That's my bouquet for Zaf. If I had to choose, if I had to choose one flower, it would probably have to be the lotus. But the red spider lily is also very, very on brand for him. It would be hard to choose between them. Ugh, I love hyacinth. Yeah, me too. They're so pretty. I really want some in my garden. I think foxgloves might be my favorite flower, but hyacinths are definitely a close second. Not a lot, but forget-me-nots and orchids for Merca. Oh, forget-me-nots! They're so cute. And orchids are very lovely. Quite difficult to take care of though. Quite finicky, those ones. Ugh. I used to love forget-me-nots. They used to grow just outside my windowsill at home. In the... outside the living room window. It was so pretty. I find where I'm at on my reference. This bloody gauntlet as well has got a whole bird skull. Why did I put so many skulls in this? It's almost like he worships the goddess of death or something. Like, what the hell? Why did I do this? It's got like feathers. I feel like there's not a lot more about Zaf that I could say. I'm not sure anyway. Keep bumping my arm. So sorry, everyone. I'm not sure like what I've said and what I've not said about Zaf. All I know is that he's really sad. And his campaign was very fun. It was sort of a double bill where it was both super pirate themed and also like death cult themed, because the BBEGs were this cult of Orcus which is the demon lord of undeath. And on top of that, we were also trying to find this pirate secret treasure island, and that there was this whole other pirate plot that was going on, but the two were connected because these pirate lords, the sort of king of the pirates, the ultimate, like the big guy, he was actually the champion of Orcus at one point. And on their pirate island, he dispensed like a bunch of weird undead worms. So it's like, it has a double bill. Ugh, the worm island was horrible. Don't recommend. We would drink the water and all of these worms would just... Everyone had worms. And it was so nasty. Oh my gosh, and the day that Zephyr came back to life, he was given... Or maybe it wasn't the day, but... Well, yeah, the day that Zephyr came back to life, he discovered that he had a really big divine worm just in his eye. That was nasty. And he had to... They restorationed it out, the other members of the party, and it was so grim. It was so nasty. And bro was going through it on the daily. Poor thing. Even when I wasn't the one that was making him suffer, he was still suffering. I love a lily. Me when I'm James Potter talking to my wife. No, lilies are my favorite flower. Oh, that's so lovely. That's so pretty. I do love a lily. Can't bring them into the house though, because they're super duper toxic to cats. Which is terrible. You hate to see it. Get this. This is simultaneously taking so much focus, but also it's like super therapeutic to do. I do remember I had quite a lot of fun doing this the first time, but now unfortunately it has to be accurate every time, so it's really a bit of a chore. Give a little, yeah. Gosh, it's quite blinding. Let me add some shading. Tone her down a little bit. Okay. I'm pretty happy with the last Pathfinder session, even though we didn't make a lot of progress. Entire party knows about Merca's wings growing, and 2 party members work together to modify his armor. Oh. Gave our magus a coin to identify that I had since the beginning of the campaign, and it turned out to be a knowledge coin through which we got information about the artifact we carry. Oh, that's lovely. Well, last session for us, we went to the opera, had our La Fleur's night. I actually finished a little hang on. I did this little meme redraw of Senno and Bran at the first night. Oh, wait, I have to go eat my dinner. No, so sad. That this is them at La Fleur's night. I just thought it was so cute. Them in their little outfits. I didn't realize at first that they were both wearing yellow. They're like matching. Icons. Yeah, they've hardly spoken in the past like 10 days, but going to this opera together, they had bought the tickets together, so they both gave their little aliases, and then they were like, well, I guess we're going together, and they were mingling with all the other nobles. I say other nobles. They were mingling with all the nobles. They were not nobles. And like Senna was on Bran's arm like all evening, and they were like walking around and listening in on people's conversations, and this is just what I imagine them to look like. Ugh, they're so cunty. I love them. I've always wanted to redraw this picture, and I've finally got an excuse to, and it's so good. They look so cute. I love them. Love them. Iconic icons. Yay. Ugh. And Senna looked so slow. I mean, Bran looks great as well, but ugh, she's so pretty. She's so pretty. I love her. So yeah, that's them. That's them absolutely slaying house boots at the Fleurs night. So the whole thing about it was that wait, let me read. Then a cleric and the magus focused on the artifact, which led to the magus going mad and attacking the cleric. So we had to do a little PvP to try and stop him. I'm happy with how it went though. Tara, you're always doing so much PvP. I love it though. I love a bit of PvP. So yeah, we went to Le Fleur's night, the opera, which is basically like it's like a Romeo and Juliet type story, told through opera, and it was absolutely wonderful, so cool. But we were sent there to keep an eye on the proconsul, who is basically a diplomat from the Empire. And the task was kind of just to shadow him, see what he's up to, and to keep him alive if necessary. But our patron Isabella, she didn't really think it would be necessary. She just, she threw it out there that maybe he might, be in trouble or something. Because he made a very, very substantial donation to basically like the city council, but it was from his own personal funds, and we weren't sure where he got these funds from, which is why we broke into the bank. We went to find his records. And we found some shady dealings in there. We found that he had been accepting money from someone shady for months and months and months. And he had tried on multiple occasions to send the money back and to sort of get out of their arrangement, but the person who was sending him the money was just like, no, you can't get out of it, and would send the money back. So, we were shadowing him. We were swanning around trying to figure out who he was, because we had no idea what he looked like, and two of the party members started fighting over the arm of one of our NPCs, one of our lovely NPCs, the necromancer Eleanor, and they were just like, one of them would just step away, and then one of them stepped away, and then the other one bought her a drink, and then and then he came back and was like, what the hell, man? Really funny. Really funny to watch, because also this sudden interest in this NPC has just come from nowhere. They didn't care about her 2 weeks ago, but now suddenly she's everything, and they're desperate for her hand. Just really funny. And yeah, so we were just milling around watching the show. We we watched some of the show, and the Juliet figure actually turned out to be played by a half-orc, which made everyone gasp. It's apparently quite a big deal, because this opera is usually performed by just humans. It's always 2 humans, so it's very like, ooh, things are happening. There's a statement being made, and it was all the nobles are very hand over heart. Oh my goodness. Hello Waffles. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. So yeah, and then we were watching him, and then we met this very, very ancient old woman. Brannigan spotted her and was sort of intrigued by her, went over to talk to her, and she seemed like just a random nice old lady. But when the proconsul left his little box seat to go and do something, she bumped into him and spilled wine all over him. And we thought that was a bit odd. She handed him her handkerchief. He took it back into his box seat, and he started cleaning himself up, and then saw that there was something on the handkerchief, a note. So immediately we try closing in on him, but he just vanishes, and we discover through some espionage that the note also contained some sort of ring of invisibility. So the proconsul had literally just snuck out. But luckily we found a meeting place on the note, and we followed it to a prop room where we discovered that the proconsul had dropped a different ring on the floor and was not there. Fearing the worst, we followed the trail, and we ended up back in the fucking sewers again. We're always in the bloody sewers. We're always in the bloody sewers, and we're in our nice opera clothes, and we're in the sewers, and it's all stinky. It's so sad. Oh, and it's Senno's first time wearing heels ever, and our lovely heels are all gross now. It's all ruined. We managed to track down the proconsul through the sewers, and we find him tied to a chair by the old lady. This ancient old woman. She had this, like, her silver hair was up in this style that made it look like she had like a cloud on her head, and she's carrying a little handbag in the shape of a stuffed heron. It's actually a stuffed heron that is a handbag, and she holds it by the neck. It's just this like ancient tiny old woman has kidnapped this diplomat and dragged him down to the sewers, and and it's just, and she seemed so nice when Bran spoke to her. And oh my god, I do have a suspicion that maybe she's in disguise or something, but I really hope she isn't, and that she's just like an old lady and she just wasn't to be trusted the whole time, because I think that's way funnier. So hopefully she's not in disguise. Hopefully she is just an old lady. But yeah, the proconsul was tied to a chair, and she was basically giving her evil villain monologue, essentially, where she was doing a bunch of exposition dumping, which is really useful for us. We had discovered that the town that we were just in before coming to the city had basically been blown up. We had been there, and we had conducted our first heist there, which didn't go very well, if any of you recall. Brannigan almost died because of this horrible toxic gas called Grey Veil. And in that refinery, we found not what we were looking for, but we found documents about this Grey Veil and about a plan to unleash it onto the people of the Vale, the Valley of the Screaming Wind, which is where Senimirin is from. And it was basically just going to wipe everyone out. Very scary, very unfun. And we discovered through an article in the newspaper that that refinery blew up. There was some sort of accident, some sort of meltdown from unstable materials, and it just exploded, and it took half the town with it, including our favorite pub, which was called the Brass Egg. And I'm so devastated. Not the Brass Egg. You hate to see it. And yeah, so not great. And we discovered through this woman giving her evil villain monologue to our poor proconsul that they had actually blown up the refinery on purpose because they believed that the whole plans there were compromised, which they were, because, you know, we stole them. So when we first heard about the refinery blowing up, we were like, oh, that's not our fault, we went there, you know. They're probably trying to experiment and make more of this horrible gas, and, you know, it didn't work. But we discovered that it is sort of directly due to our actions that all of these people have died and the Brass Egg is gone. It's so sad. Oh, not the Brass Egg, not the egg. And yeah, so they have purposefully blown it up because they believed it was compromised, and all of those people died because of that. And it also means, well, it means that this old woman is involved in this whole Grey Vale plot, as well as this organization called the Ruby Crows. The Ruby Crows, as the most that we really know about them is that they're basically human supremacists, where they, you know, they're just huge racists, really, and they believe in human supremacy overall, and like down with the orcs and all of this stuff, down with the lizard folk, down with the fae, all of it. They just hate everyone, and they're super nasty. And really punchable. And we've discovered that the Ruby Crows are actually involved in this Grey Vale plot as well, which is really fun. And the old lady is involved just because she's racist. The other sort of, what we've seen from the documents is that the actual aim of the Grey Vale is to be used as like a tool of suppression. It's just going to be tested on the Valley of the Screaming Wind, and then it will be dispersed later on as a means of control over some of the more restless clans of the south, to maintain power and order and stuff like that. But this woman and the Ruby Crows are only really in it because they just want everyone in the Vale to die. They just, you know, they're just really racist, which I think is fun. It's nice that not all of them have like these ulterior political motives. It's just because they hate the people of the Vale. You know, they're just nasty. So that's really fun, but also quite unfun, because there was a plan in place to steal the formula for this gas as it was being transported to the place that blew up, but because it's been blown up, they're taking it somewhere else that we don't know, which means that our plan is not going to work, and we don't know where to ambush this caravan anymore, which is quite stressful. And, you know, if we don't manage to steal this formula ahead of time, then they're going to make more of the Grey Veil, and then they're going to move it to the valley. They're going to use it, and then they're going to do whatever they want with it, really. So that's a bit, that's like a little bit less fun. It's quite stressful, actually. I'm not really keen on the idea of everyone that Senna has ever known or loved dying. That's quite a lot of sadness for one girl. So hopefully we can do something about it. Not let that happen. Poor thing. So yeah, this old lady gotta die. This old lady gotta die real hard, but I reckon I really want to keep her alive, actually, so we can question her. Hopefully she knows where they're taking this gas. You know, it's good old-fashioned questioning. It's gonna be really nice and polite and not evil. Tomorrow I'm going to my first convention in my life, also meeting an artist that has inspired me for years. Totally not nervous at all. Oh, that's so exciting, Waffles! Ooh! I've actually never been to a convention myself. I really do want to go at some point. Proper dress up and everything. I'd also like to sell at a convention at some point. That's on my bucket list. God, I love good old weapons of mass destruction. Yeah, exactly. It's so fun. You've always got to have a world-ending plot. Sometimes it's cultists, and sometimes it's evil kings. As far as we're aware, this whole plot is to do with the... Well, he's not actually technically the king, because the queen went missing. He's just a regent. But yeah. Sometimes it's an evil king. Sometimes it's a cult. Sometimes it's both. And I do have a feeling that it's going to be both in this campaign. Because we've not even touched on... We've not even touched on some of the other stuff that I know is going on. Which includes a cult of the mad goddess. The goddess of madness. And also... There's some weird stuff going on with the dwarves as well. They got some weird, like, mutant juice going on. They've got whole lost civilizations under the ground. There's some massive creature, I think. It's my belief. So, you know, hopefully we get to fight that. Yeah. It's really funny because the weapon of mass destruction is actually not the main plot of the campaign, as far as I know. You know, it's just a cheeky side plot. Which always bodes well, doesn't it? When you have the destruction of a whole civilization on the table and it's just like sort of there, it's just sort of a side plot. You know, that bodes well. Hey, look at that! I've finished all of his shinies. It's crazy. Actually managed to get all his details in. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I still haven't done this panel. Okay. Let's bite the bullet. Let's do it. The panel that I'm talking about is this one. So it's got a little skull in it, and it's got some feathers, and it's got basically like a river, and yeah. It's got a lot of stuff going on in here. It's got ravens and feathers as symbols of his goddess, moths for the viper moths, which are sacred to his order, and also like oars for the ferryman and wings for the angel of death and stuff like that. Super cool. Okay. I have to do it really, really tiny. I'm just hoping it doesn't come out too goofy. I suppose I could draw it bigger and then shrink it down. But I don't want to make things like weirdly detailed. I want to make it sort of relative to the scale that we've got going on. It looks so stupid. Let me get this little bit in. Just kind of got some like swells. Yeah, the trick to making things look detailed is just to add lots of little swells everywhere. That's kind of what I do. I just do like vague scribbles. And then I hope that people don't look too closely at them and start accusing me of using AI or something like that because the scribbles don't make sense. Of course they don't make sense, they're just there to fill the space. I'm not drawing everything. But to be fair, I don't think I have a style that's really... it's really like for AI, you know? Not been accused yet. There's time. That's how I'll know I've made it. Good. Okay, let's zoom out. Ooh. Okay, that looks really cool from afar. You can't even see like any of the details. You can't even see any of the details. That's so funny. But it does look cool. And it's nice that I can zoom all the way in. And you can see that there are details. That's nice. I'm happy with how I led Mirka through the fight against our magus. I tried to trip him and tie him down, but he escaped my grasp. He got critted and fell off the roof, one roll away from death. Oh god. Mirka stabilized him, but when he woke up he was still mad. He tried to fight him... He tried to fight for control of his body, which Mirka helped him by punching him unconscious for 1 point of damage. What happened after was something nobody expected. Magus grew scales around his eyes, but snake-like, different from Mirka's and turquoise in colour. He also grew a tail. This is coming along so nicely, thank you! How big is the canvas? It is... I feel like that can't be right, but maybe it is. Hang on. Canvas size is 4,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels, which is huge. I do huge canvases. I tend to shrink them down. It was actually double this size originally, so I could fit everyone in. But then I shrunk it down because it was taking up so much memory on my computer. And it was making my OBS freeze. So yeah, all of these details I've been doing with an 8 pixel brush. 8 pixel size brush. Because I like, I don't know, I like using these big... I think it's because if I go too small, I use this sort of, it's like a pencil, it's like a chalky pencil style brush. But if I have a canvas that's too too small, then it gets like really crunchy. If you see, I can't really. Just trust me, it gets like really, really crunchy, and that's not really the style that I'm going for. I want it to be textured, but I don't want it to be crunchy, you know? So I err on the bigger side of a canvas. That's something that my my art teacher taught me in school, like in high school. I did fine art for my older years, and she would always say like, oh, go bigger, bigger canvas, which, you know, is different when you're doing fine art with paints and stuff. But you know, the bigger the better. You can always shrink things down, but if you try and make them bigger, they just get really, they just get really crunchy. They get really pixelated. So I err on the side of big. It does mean that my files are absolutely massive though. And I also never remember to, well, I never bother really to shrink them down when I'm doing commissions. So I send people super duper high res, so many pixels in there for their piece that they've ordered. But they're always free to come back to me and say, hey, this image is too big, can you resize it? I just kind of trust that everyone knows how to resize an image if they need. Let's just get his silks in. Kind of don't need to. Ugh, I just love this outfit so much. I'm so sad he didn't wear it for very long. It was really right towards the end of the campaign. Yeah. But it was really fun getting to this point, getting this armor, him doing he did a pilgrimage, a religious pilgrimage, and it was so cool. He had to carry a bucket of water up to a super tall, up a super tall hill to deliver it to the grave of the previous champion of his goddess. And the funny thing about it is that she had only ever had one champion before Zaf. The other gods in this region, they have plenty of champions. They have multiple champions on the go at once. The cleric, Christine, she became champion after doing her own pilgrimage and after just sort of giving some money to the temple as well. And it was actually the high priestess who proclaimed her as champion, which kind of makes it seem a bit like a multi-level marketing scheme. But just if you give enough money and you spread the word enough, then you reach the rank of champion, which is funny. The other paladin in the group, Aramis, he was the champion of the goddess Levi, which was quite fun because we had actually met an avatar of Levi during our travels. She had tried to kill us with a kraken, and then later, after we freed the demigod that was trapped on Octopus Island, the pirate island, she was very happy with us because the demigod was her daughter. and she gave us 2 wishes, which we used to save an NPC from being controlled by a vampire. You know how it is. And also for a way back home, because she had shipwrecked us with her kraken. Super fun. But yeah, he was one of 2 champions in that present moment. There was another champion just sort of milling about, doing champion business. And there was this whole long silk scarf that was wrapped around this huge tree in the center of the temple of Levi, that had all of the champions' names on it from, you know, centuries of different champions. And it was really cool to see this sort of long lineage that our friend had come from, this long line of champions. And Zaf was just one of 2 champions ever. We visited the gravesite of the other one is one of the pilgrimage sites. It's really interesting because she's the goddess of death. She doesn't really feel the need to take on champions. She doesn't bother with that sort of thing. She finds it sort of ostentatious to have champions because she is a goddess of necessity. So she's not really all about the fancy stuff. Which I thought was rather cool. Certainly made Zaf feel very, very special. He's really kind of giving the chosen one in that regard. That's really cool. So yeah, he also went deep underground to this tiny shrine to his goddess to pray. And while he was there, this is his first pilgrimage site, while he was there, the person who resurrected him, his reanimator, actually showed up in spirit form and just kind of pissed him off a bit, I guess. She was just like, haha, you suck. And he was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, mate. And you know what? He was actually wrong. He didn't manage to kill her, but he was really pissed off. And he was actually quite mad at his goddess after that for sort of letting that happen. And then at a different pilgrimage site, like a bunch of moths landed on him. And it's really beautiful, actually. It's really lovely. And at the final pilgrimage site, he went into the water. He dove into some water and came back out, and he was wearing this armor. That's really cool. And he had several visions on his pilgrimage as well. They were mostly about... Well, one of them was about the lost elven civilization, which we've actually heard a bit more about in this campaign, which is really fun. Sort of before... In the lore, before humans showed up, the elves lived... Like, they lived in absolute bliss, total harmony. They had... Like, it was basically like the modern era, but like magic and stuff. Like, they had all of this fantastical stuff. It was super duper high fantasy, super duper high magic. But they got a bit big for their boots, and they ended up causing an event known as the Sundering. And that caused sort of like a break in magic. And then dragons showed up dragons used this magic that was floating around to form their bodies. And so they were beings made entirely of magic, and they started flying away. And the elves started hunting these dragons because they needed the change stone, the magic that they were made of, in order to do their thing. You know, they wanted to continue living as they were. They wanted to keep advancing and all of this, and they started hunting the dragons to near extinction, and the dragons fled up north. And that is where the humans were living. And the humans began to revere the dragons as gods. They believed that they were their gods in physical form. And so they ended up killing all the elves and then moving south, led by these dragons, and ended up pushing all the elves out. And, you know, now it's human land. I just think it's really cool. So the goddess showed a vision of the super duper ancient city, super duper ancient elven city that was so impossible and high fantasy and high magic. It's so cool. She also showed Zephyr how she ascended to godhood, really, up this Tower of Babylon sort of thing, impossibly tall tower. And it involved, actually, a man that had only one eye and one hand. I don't know if you guys recognize such a man. Perhaps the OG Lich. He had tried to ascend to godhood himself in his lichdom, but failed. And the goddess of death ended up killing him, it seems. And then she ascended to godhood herself. It was Vecna. She killed Vecna and then ascended to godhood. As far as I'm aware, that's what I took from the vision. You know, it wasn't the most clear. But I think it's really fun that she gave Zephyr the tutorial to ascending to godhood. So hopefully he'll get to ascend. Hopefully he'll find the tower and he'll get to ascend to godhood himself, because I think that'd be really cool. Not that he would want to, but I just hope he does. It's just really cool. I actually did a piece for him a long time ago. It was a thought experiment as to like what he would look like if he became a god. And I think that's why I want him to ascend to godhood, because I just want to make it canon. I just want to make it real. The DM told me in secret that he will impose disadvantages for the magus because of his new tail until he takes some lessons from Merca on how to walk and keep balance with it. Oh, that's so cute! Oh, that makes me excited for Merca's moments of faith. All those sound like a lot of fun, especially since we're near the first temple Merca would see. Accidentally ascending to godhood. Yeah! Oh, so cool. No, I love... Zephyr was my first, like, super duper religious character. That I got to really play with as well, because Godred isn't really religious and neither is Athos, and they were my two previous campaign characters. Bree is a cleric, but I only got to play her for one session, and Ren was another champion of a god, but they died in their session. It was a one-shot again. So Zephyr was the first time I ever really got to like play a super duper religious character, and it was so much fun. It was so cool, and it was also really cool to be noticed by a god as well, to do a pilgrimage and become champion and all of this. It was just so fun. And now I can never go without. I don't think I can ever play a character that's not religious again, because especially since we are making it a point to play each campaign in a different region. So there's always going to be new gods, different gods to worship. So there's just always something new, you know? And there's also like all these different races, and all the different races have different pantheons, and all the different regions have different pantheons, and it's just, you know. But the vibe is totally different. So Senna is also quite religious, but it's more of like she's religious and she prays to her gods and things like that, but it's sort of like I just grew up in a really religious town and really religious family sort of way. She's not dedicated her life to her gods the same way that Zafir has. It's more of like a, you know, it's more of a like a, I gotta pray every night before I go to bed. Like a casual sort of religion. Casual religious. But she does sort of come across as the most religious out of the group, which is really interesting because we do have a cleric. Because we do have a cleric, but the Perrin is our cleric, and he's a dwarf, and he's a forge cleric. So he does have a holy symbol and things like that, but he's not a priest. And the dwarven gods are also a bit more sort of primordial and elemental. So they don't really worship them in the same way. So it means that Senna is definitely like the most religious vibe out of everyone. Which is crazy. So it makes her seem like super duper religious, but compared to her people at home, she's actually really, really chill and really casual about it. It's just she's paired with she's joined up with a bunch of people who aren't really that religious. Even though, again, they all worship, most of them do actually worship something, but they're just not, I don't know, I guess they just don't talk about it as much. Or they've got a complicated relationship with their gods. Accidentally ascending to godhood. Evelyn would have to disagree about the being noticed by a god thing. She's like, please don't notice me, please don't notice me. Oh, let me show off the I think I'm pretty actually, like, we're pretty close actually to finishing Zaf. He might be almost finished. I feel like his cloak could do with a little bit something, but I think it's actually a quick fix. And oh, and he's holding the cursed sword. There was this whole thing about the sword. I kind of want to redraw this now, actually. Because I feel like my art's a bit better now. But this is what I think Zaf would look like if he ascended to godhood. He would be the god of vengeance. So he's all of the smoke has sort of, all of his smoky tattoos have sort of become him. He's just like half turned to smoke, and his hair is all black and white and turned to smoke, and he's like starry. It's very black and white because, you know, vengeance. He has black and white thinking. That really defined a lot of his characters. He was very black and white thinking. He was his morals were very rigid. he has a very, very strong belief that you get exactly what you deserve and nothing more and nothing less. That's sort of the core belief that I had for him. And that's really what kind of drives a character, I think. Makes a character like really, really compelling is a distinct core belief, especially if their core belief conflicts with what they want or what they need. That creates like a really cool character arc. So yeah, his core belief is you get exactly what you deserve and nothing more, which meant that, you know, he had to enact some sweet, sweet vengeance upon his tormentor, or if he didn't, that meant that he deserved what he got and he was a terrible person. So very black and white thinking, because, you know, vengeance and stuff, it's all about justice, tipping of the scale, balance and things. It's just really cool. And you've got this sort of light from his eye, because he's missing an eye and he's got the scar over his eye, and his throat, which was when he was murdered, his throat was slit, and then this sort of star on his heart, which is where he had this big scar and this big symbol on his chest. Yeah, I just thought it was really cool. That's why I want him to ascend to godhood, because I want that to be canon. I really want that to be canon. Let's get this. Just need to add some details to his prayer silk. Guess who's back in the house? It is me. Oh, you just missed me talking about God Zaf. If Zaf ascended to godhood, Jack. I started with a character that joined party's kobold faith because of the good, but it's also very chaotic energy and radiated, and he loved chaos. I love it! Hot boy looking mighty fine. Yeah! And he's holding the cursed sword that just ruined everything. This cursed bloody sword, okay, this sword was basically the whole thing of the campaign. It was the driving force of the campaign. We found in the first session a fragment of the sword, and we spent the whole campaign finding the rest of the fragments to put them back together, because this sword is called the Worm's Tongue, and it was said to be so sharp that it could cut its way through the plains. The cult that we were fighting wanted to collect all the pieces of this sword in order to cut their way into the plane of Orcus and bring him back. And originally Zaf's purpose was actually to become the vessel for Orcus. They were going to summon him and shove him inside of Zaf's body, and that's kind of why he stayed looking so nice when he was undead. They've had a lot of effort into keeping him sort of together and nice, because, you know, vessel for Orcus, it's gotta be yummy. And really funny is that the original plan was also that Orcus / Zafir, with like Zafir being the vessel for Orcus, was going to have a consort who was going to be sort of like the champion of Orcus, and she was actually Maria, who was this girl whose brother we killed at the beginning of the campaign, but ended up joining us. She was an assassin, part of the Assassin's Guild, and we ended up redeeming her and bringing her along with us. And then the character who betrayed us ended up becoming the new like consort, the new champion of Orcus. It was all very like it was all very weird. It was all very, very weird and horrible. But yeah, so the whole thing about Zafir is he had been chosen, killed, resurrected, and all of this stuff had happened to him in order to prepare him to become the vessel for Orcus to inhabit. But then his tormentor, her name is Harmonia, she discovered this fucking sword, and then she was like, oh, I don't even need this guy. Like, okay, I've done all of this for nothing. Like, there was really like no point to any of it. He suffered all that time for nothing because his original purpose, like, she didn't need him for that anymore because of this fucking sword. Like, if she had known about the sword 100 years before this campaign had started, it would have all been fine. Like, are you kidding? Hello, Dark Shadow. Hello, sorry I'm late. I'm so sick. Oh, poor you. I hope you're doing okay. I'm glad to see you, though. So yeah, we spent the whole campaign putting this fucking sword back together. And we didn't really know what it did, basically the whole time. We met this woman, called Yvonne, and she is a NPC who transcends campaigns. She's a reoccurring NPC. And she's so fucking shady, man. Like, she's so shady. She's just really ambitious, and she's really old at this point. And she's like kind of cunty, but like also like she kind of sucks. And she helped us. She came along and she helped us. She gave us a hand with certain things that we needed doing. And then she also helped us put the sword back together. And in exchange for all of that, she wanted to keep the sword after all of it was over. And Zafir was like, fucking hell nah. Like, this whole temple that I've been kept in for 100 years, it needs to be blown up, man. This shit needs to go. I've got so much trauma from this place. Like, it needs to be wiped off the earth. Nothing good can be found in this. All you're gonna find are some horrible artifacts, and then the cycle is just gonna continue. Like, someone else is gonna find this shit and then is going to start the whole thing again. And he didn't trust her not to do that with it. And he didn't know. He originally was like, he went along with it because he didn't know what the sword did at the time. And he was like, okay, I guess we can come to some sort of agreement, like, let me be involved in the process of all of this. You know, let my order be involved in it. And she was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Then we find out, after the sword has been put together, we find out that it does this. It cuts its way through planes, and it's able to summon Orcus to this plane. And it really does, like, very little else. It just, like, cuts its way into this plane. And as well as bringing forth Orcus himself, the cult planned to open the corpse vaults, which had a bunch of shit in it, including this plague that caused everyone that has ever been resurrected to sort of wither away and die permanently, and all resurrection would be gone forever from the world. Which is super scary, right? We didn't want that to happen. So we end up doing this whole big finale. We put the sword back together, we do this whole big finale. We need the sword in order to get into the temple itself because it's locked, and only sort of artifacts of Orcus, specific things, will open the door. So we needed the sword. Zafir ended up attuning to it, and he discovered in doing so that it has this quirky little habit of whispering things in your ear in order to try and convince you to use it to open gateways into planes and, you know, bring horrible things out of it. And he's like, oh great, this is cool. Now I'm being tormented by voices. This is great fun. Cool. Then he goes and he doesn't get his vengeance. He doesn't get his vengeance because the bitch Harmonia got killed by someone else. Cringe. And then immediately afterwards, this Yvonne woman shows up again and she's like, okay now, hand over the sword, sweetie. And we're like, eek. Zafir is like, hell nah, man. Like, let's just talk about this. You're being really weird. You're being really weird about the sword. How did you know anything about the sword before it was reforged? I thought the whole thing was that you can't know things about the sword before it's reforged. So how did you know about it? This is dodgy as hell. And I've heard from the DM that this line of questioning would have caused Yvonne to turn around and start like attacking us because she would have just gotten sick of us, which is so fucking rude. Like this woman is like 70 years old and she was talking to Zafir like he was a stroppy little teenager, even though he was over twice his age and he had spent her entire lifespan trapped in this temple. Like in this very temple where she was standing, he had lived there for longer than she had been alive. And she had the nerve to tell him, like, you're being a bitch about this. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's, like, wow. Like, she had the nerve to get annoyed about his questions, you know, and she would have turned around and started attacking us just because she got annoyed about it. Like, that's crazy work. That's crazy. Like, I love women's wrongs. But that is but she's insane. She's like, she's literally like 70 years old, more so, and she's out here acting like that. So she would have attacked us anyway just because Zaf was asking these questions. And she did off screen, not that we knew this, not that the characters knew this, but she did also kill one of the other heads of Zafir's Paladin Order, because Zafir had asked him to keep an eye on the artifacts that they would find and asked the Order to sort of like go through and comb things and try and keep certain objects out of the hands of these scholars that were picking them up. And she had killed that guy, which is like, she's in a college. You can't just go around killing the heads of paladin orders, of religious orders. This guy was a priest. He was the head of the paladin order known as the Hands of Nazazil, which is such a cool fucking order. Like, it was so cool. All of these paladins in their masks and stuff, and it was so cool. And she fucking killed him. And like, how can you get away with that shit? What the hell? What was she gonna do if we had surrendered the sword? This is crazy. You can't just do that. Miss, you're like a professor at college. What are you doing? And she's also the mother of the emperor. Like, what is happening? So she turned around and she was like, hey, I want the sword. Zafir was like, why do you want it so bad? And then a bunch of shit all happened at once. One of the other characters was like, shut up, everyone, stop fighting, and tried to cast Dominate Person on her, which obviously was counterspelled immediately. And then Aramis stole the sword off of Zaf's belt and tried to give it to Yvonne. And then there was this big tussle about the sword. Yvonne turned around and was like, oh, well, kill him. Zafir was pissed at Aramis and, like, friendship over. Which is so heartbreaking because they were getting on so well. And then we started this big combat and it ended up with a big earthquake. And then we got thrown out of the whole empire and we were blamed for that priest's death. Like, you can't just go around killing my mate and then blaming me for it. Are you crazy? But we did end up keeping the sword. We did walk away with the sword. So Zaphis still has it. I don't think he's attuned to it anymore. I don't think he's attuned to it anymore, but he does still hear the whispers. He does still hear the whispers. Thanks to Aramis, we still have the sword. Yeah, we would have had the sword if Aramis hadn't given it to Yvonne in the first place. She wouldn't have had it if Aramis, like, Zafir wasn't going to give it to her. He could have just kept it in his hand. If Aramis hadn't handed it to Yvonne, then they could have stayed friends. He was just adding extra steps. But I do love Aramis, Blonde King. You know, shit happens. Shit happens, man. It sucks. I don't know what you're talking about. He did no wrong. He betrayed Sappho in that moment, and it was really dramatic. Actually, it was really fun. Okay, anyway, we have finished Zaph, I do believe. So for our last half an hour, we're gonna spin the wheel. It's a 50-50 shot of getting Cat. And to remind you of how monumentous this is, Cat is a random character, a random level 1 character that I made in 20 minutes. I threw her together. Her concept is really fucking stupid. The other character is Athos, and he is the first D&D character I've ever played. So there's clearly a character that is, like, better to end on, you know? Better to end on. If we get Athos right now, I'm going to scream. I cannot end this on Cat. This is spin the wheel. Yes! Yes! Oh my god. It's just spin the wheel, see who we get. I love that we can spin the wheel for Athos. Yay, Athos! Okay. It's Cat. It's Cat! Oh my gosh. So, I don't even know if I have her character sheet. Oh, she's so fucking stupid. I don't even know if I remember her that well. She was thrown together. Let me grab her sheet. So much cat lore. Oh, yes. Yes. I didn't write any of her story. She was really just... She was thrown together. It was riffing. We were riffing. So yes, this is Cat. She is a Storm Goliath. Only Goliath I've ever played. And honestly, what a waste. I talk like I hate her, but I actually really do quite like her. She's quite fun. Her concept is... Well, she's a cleric. She's a nature domain cleric. Her concept is that she is an animal groomer, like a pet groomer. Like cats and dogs and all of this. But she's also a part-time DJ. And that's it. Like she's a fucking DJ, and she works 2 jobs. She has 2 part-time jobs where she travels around, and she has a pet grooming business, but she also DJs on the side. And she has like full decks. As a single DJ who works 2 jobs, she has full decks, and she carries them around everywhere. So she's a nature domain cleric. So she has like speak with animals and stuff. And then she also has the entertainer background. And her musical proficiency is DJ Dex. And that's all I can remember about her, really. But I know that she had like a bit more. There was a bit more to her. There was a bit more story. But honestly, like, who fucking cares? On like, like I hate her, but I love her at the same time. She was quite fun to play. I don't really. Oh my god, there was. Okay, there was it was this like really, it was this really cute little session where we went to this island, kind of like it felt like a bit of like a cruise island. It was honestly like we were on a cruise ship and we were stopping off on an island for a day. Like we went there for dinner or something. I think we were sent there to do some work. I don't really remember what actually was going on. But there was we fought some Sahaugen that had popped up, and there was also a frat house. We were doing there was a bunch of little activities, and I remember that I remember that we were going like shark fishing or something of that sort, like going swimming with sharks or something. And I remember that one of the frat boys, Kat, had like made a bet with one of the frat boys about who could punch a shark or some shit, or who could swim better. I don't even, like, it was so stupid. And then the frat boy like jumped into the water, and then a Sahaugen like attacked him immediately. Gee, wait, was this the session I ran for us all hungover? Yeah. This is Kat. You seriously don't remember? It was came to visit a bunch of people hungover. Came to visit a bunch of people in person, and we just did a one-off, one shot. There was also one of the characters was an Aarakocra that was an owl, I believe. But this Aarakocra was like it. You know those images online that, like, you know those pictures of like the cats with human faces? It's like that with an owl. Like this bitch had like a beak and also had lips. It was so weird. It was so weird, and the character itself was so weird. And they flirted with Kat like pretty much the whole time. That was really cool. There was also another character, a little gnome called Mac, and Mac is honestly iconic. He loves milk. He would do anything for a glass of milk. And he didn't believe that birds were real. I think it was very much the birds work for the bourgeoisie vibes. Which is really funny because we had an Aarakocra there. So like he didn't believe that the birds were real. I think that was his vibe. I really love him. I think he was an artificer. Iconic, really. And yeah, Kat, she because she's a Storm Goliath, she was a cleric that just like hit people with stuff, which Perrin is now sort of bringing forth. You know, we get melee clerics all the time nowadays, but you know, I'm just quite fond of a class that can cast spells but just chooses not to in favor for hitting people with improvised weapons. Like, she was just smacking people around with, like, I don't even know what. Did she have a weapon? Did she even have a weapon? She had her DJ Dex, of course. Oh my god, she had a big pair of scissors. She had a big pair of scissors, of course. How could I forget? And a mace. Oh my god. Iconic. Iconic girl. I love her. I hate her, but I love her. I love to hate her. So yeah. Yeah. I don't remember anything else about the session other than Mac, the Uncanny Valley Araco Cra. Kat is a single DJ who works 2 jobs, and also the frat house, like the frat boys just like fucking they died instantly. I love them. They were so iconic. I think one of them actually like might have survived. He put in the work. He was fighting on our side. It was good. It was a good time. The frat boys Rip Kings, yeah. Ugh. Gone but never forgotten. So yeah, like I don't have like Kat is really just like the biggest joke character that I've got currently in my repertoire. I feel like I should really branch out and do more joke characters, but I just can't help myself. If they have like if I can give them a proper story, then I do. You know, sometimes you just have to play a single DJ who works 2 jobs. So yeah, you understand why I didn't want to end on Kat. Would have just been so anticlimactic. But hey, I like her. I do kind of like her vibe. I've actually not really got anything in mind for what she looks like. I think I did describe her in the session, but I'm gonna switch it up. So we're actually kind of we're designing her on the fly. As if any D&D had to use the Critical Role Tides of Retribution adventure for inspo. Yeah, I'm sure that my description of your wonderful adventure while we were hungover is, you know, people, it really inspires, I think. Not that it was bad or anything, actually like really good. Really good, but we were hungover. And we were dealing with Mac and Kat and whatever the fuck the owl's name was. Like, holy shit. The best part about Kat, she existed. That's so true. You can't take that away from her. She did exist, and she is the best DJ. You know, she exists, and because she exists, that means that there is like there's a pet grooming business, and it also means that DJ decks do also canonically exist, because this session is canon. It is 100% canon, which means that in our world we do have DJ decks. We also have a theremin. Theremins also exist in our homebrew world. Thanks to a little barbarian called Mercy. What more do you want? The island song. It was fun for a very hungover session where we also had takeout. Yeah, exactly. It was really good. Sessions for takeout are the best kind of sessions. Yeah, absolutely. It was also well, we started playing in university, and we played in person. So every single time we would play, we would get this one specific takeout. We'd get Wagamamas, and we got Wagamamas on this occasion as well, and it was so nostalgic, really. It was so nostalgic just to play in person and to eat our noodles and our curries and our bao buns. It's just so good. But you know, it's worth playing online just to be able to play it all. And I was so used to playing online that the DM refuses to play in person. He says he can't control everything enough. So, you know how it is. I think I'm gonna give her a little like gradient on her hair. Like sort of, she's a storm Goliath, but she's sort of like, she's from the sea. She's that sort of storm Goliath. So I kind of gave her very watery vibes, just, yeah. I think I have to fix the line art. This one's like kind of whack. I have to make her face a bit smaller. I don't really see how small she is on the canvas. I think there we go. That's a bit better. So yeah, real silly hours. But that's the fun thing about a cheeky little one shot. Oh yeah. I'll try and do this like real quick. But we've only got 10 minutes left. No! We're gonna have to start off with Cat next week. Yeah, kind of worth it. Give her a little gradient. I will say though, actually, one thing that I do remember about Cat, about her description, is that I said that she has these sort of markings on her skin, reminiscent of water, like refraction, which I'm not going to give to her so much. I don't think I'm going to give to her like very much, because I gave that to, actually ended up giving that to Moses. I don't know if you remember Moses. The baby, the little baby. Let me get him. Where's the baby? Where's the baby? There's the baby. So this sort of like dappling on his skin, I first thought of that when I was thinking of Cat. When I described Cat, she had this, and I thought it was such a cool idea that I couldn't just leave it with Cat, so I ended up giving it to Moses as well, because Moses is a little bit more important. I'm sorry, Cat. But thank you for inspiring a generation. So quite iconic of her, really. I think maybe I'll give her like ripples, actually. Ripples would be cool. It's kind of the fun thing about coming up with different sort of weird characters, because just sort of come up with weird concepts for them. Little she's actually from the deep sea, so ripples don't really make any sense, but you know, shh, it's fine. She's a DJ, who cares? Who cares? I think it looks really cool, actually. I like it. It started with in-person sessions and just recently got into online D&D. Both are fun. I prefer in-person campaigns. Yeah. I will say that one of the nicest things about playing online is the tokens. I think it's really nice. I think having our little tokens is really nice because the minis were never exactly like our character, you know. We would just pick one out that's like vaguely close, and minis are cute, minis are fun, but the tokens like look way cooler, and also our battle maps are way cooler as well, because we used to just have a sort of erasable mat, so it would just be whatever color of whiteboard marker we could get, which is very limited, as you can imagine. But now we have, like, you know, the DM can make all sorts of beautiful maps with all sorts of lighting effects and everything, and because we didn't really have very many terrain pieces or anything like that in person either, so just very limited by the amount of money and what we had on hand. Whereas this, we can sort of do whatever, which is really nice. And of course the tokens. Oh hey, blue lips. That's fun. I like that. That's cool. Haven't had any sessions yet. Our next one in the team split, so it's taking a bit longer. Oh, that's sad. But hopefully you get to play soon. Hopefully you get to play soon, Dark Shadow. Can't wait to hear about the next installment of Reese. Unfortunately, B couldn't be too weird visually because we're playing IRL Office Job Simulator, which is a mess in every other way. Yeah, we love to see it. I'd like to get Bloodlines taking commissions from you, but half the players haven't fully designed their characters yet. Oh, that'd be so fun though when they do. I'd love to do that. I love doing tokens. Speaking of commissions, did you guys know that I have started doing chibi commissions? Because the chibis are so cute. I started doing chibis. So let me show off the chibis that of our current party. They're so cute. Brand's TV I think is my favorite, but we got Perrin and Sylvanos, and then we also have they're like Animal Crossing vibes, but you know, shh, let's not get copyrighted. And then we got Quinlan and Grimhilda and Eva. I actually finished my first two chibi commissions like this week, so here's one of them, and she's so cute. And here's the other one, and I just think they're so adorable. I really want to do more of these. They're so cute. They're really fun to do. Chibi! Oh my god, the Animal Crossing style babies. Yeah, exactly. They're so cute. I love them. So I'd love to do more of them. I also really like the tokens. They're really fun to do because they don't take me as long as the all half body. So I'm like, you know, I get them done really quick and it's instant dopamine. Oh no, not another idea for art. Yeah, it all started because I made this, oh my gosh, it's almost time to log off. I did this little meme of Senna, because she, in game, we found a beholder skeleton, and she took one of its teeth out, and she like stole it. she pulled one of its teeth out and it dealt her like a shit ton of psychic damage, which is why her nose is bleeding. And then she held it out to show Bran in this way, like in the Animal Crossing style, in the sort of way of like, woo! And then I did a little pun because it was a beholder tooth. So behold a tooth. So I did that one, and then I was like, no, I have to do everyone in Animal Crossing. And then I did everyone in Animal Crossing, and I was like, I gotta do more people in this style. It's just so adorable. So, oh yeah. I'm so really proud. I'm really proud. Behold, a tooth. I feel like you guys aren't appreciating my pun enough. It's okay. It's okay, I'll see myself out. But yeah. So I do those now. And they're really fun and they're really cute and I really, really like them. So I hope I get more. And I also really like getting... I really like the idea of getting really grumpy, stinky, sad characters and making them into cute little chibis. You know, I've never played Curse of Strahd, but I would love to do. I'd love to turn Strahd into an Animal Crossing chibi. No, don't make me into a marketable plushie. Oh, I should turn Zafir into a marketable plushie, actually. I think I might need to change the color of Kat's clothing because she's very blue. But oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, we're almost done. Depending on how quickly I can finish Cat next week, we'll definitely start Athos next week. So then the week after next, we might finish this whole thing. Maybe. Because it'll probably take... So I'll probably finish Cat within the first like half an hour maybe. And then Athos will take like an hour, maybe 2. And then, so I'll probably not quite finish Athos by the end of next stream. And then the stream after that will finish Athos, and then we will do all of the background elements. And then it will be done. That's crazy. It might be 2 more streams. 2 more streams, maybe. Oh my gosh, that'll be crazy. I'm so excited to see this finish. This has been such a long fucking time coming. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this piece once it's done. I feel like I'll have to print it out A4 and put it on my wall. I have to print it out really nice. I love the Animal Crossing puns. So I love that so much. Well, I know what to do, almost as if I have a grumpy, stinky character. Yeah! You know, I've drawn Reese once, I can do it again. I think I know where a part of my next paycheck will go. Yippee! Everyone gets a chibi. You get a chibi, and you get a chibi. I actually so have to make Zaf into a little chibi. I think it'd be so cute. So yeah, oh my gosh, 2 more streams. 2 more streams, and then hopefully that'll be us done on this piece. And then what the hell are we gonna do then? What are we gonna do then? I think maybe after I finish this, maybe we'll do... I'd like to draw a new stream starting screen, maybe. So maybe we'll do that together on stream. Or maybe we'll do some more splash art. It's been a while. I don't know. I've been doing this for so long, I've forgotten what else I can do. This is so easy the past like 10 weeks just to load up. Just to load up. Like, this is just what I do every week, but you know, we're almost finished. It's gonna be really sad, but also really nice. Honestly, at this point, Auntie, Reese will be my most drawn character, and that's a treat. Hell yeah. We've always got to have one. It's always the dirty, stinky men. They get drawn the most. And they deserve it. You get a chibi. You get a chibi. Auntie's handing out chibis. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Let me pop up. Let me get these guys up again, because I just love to look at them. I finished this right before stream started, so I just I just love this piece so much. Saf, Bran and Senno at the opera. Oh gee, I missed this. Oh yeah, you did. I love that so much. Yeah, I've been looking for an excuse to draw this piece to draw this photo for ages. So, and an opportunity finally arrived. Them at the opera in their opera outfits. And why are they both wearing yellow? Why did they end up matching? Like, come on, guys, get a grip. Stop being so codependent. I love them. I love them so much. He's so handsome. Power couple. Yeah, they're really giving. They are really giving. They were swanning around the lobby, just giving. I wish to be sandwiched between them both, if allowed. Yes, absolutely. You are so welcome. I also wish to be sandwiched between them. We can all be sandwiched between them. We'll get a really, really big bed. We'll get a really, really big bed, and we'll all squeeze in between Bran and Senno, and they won't be able to see each other because we'll all be sandwiched between them. It'd be a big, big sandwich. Yeah, exactly. I love them so much. They're so cunty. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me, as always. I honestly have so much fun on streams. I never want them to end. So I hope you guys have all had a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and you've had fun with me. Thank you so much to Eleonora and Dark Shadow and Jack and Skedda and Daro, and I know Waffles was in here at some point, and Arcana as well. Plus anyone else who has popped in or been lurking. It has been so much fun to hang out with you guys. I love you all so much. Sorry I was late. I'll try not to be sick next stream. Get better soon, Dark Shadow. Everyone say get well soon. Yeah, have a great rest of your week. Look after yourselves. Play some D&D. And I will see you all next time. Bye, guys. Bye. Get well soon, Dark Shadow.